All right, guys, welcome back to another video. As we know, we are getting very close to the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition closing. Apparently, it's going to be closing on Friday, which is tomorrow. And there's going to be a ton of people talking about this, looking forward to what is going to be coming from Xbox from a Game Pass perspective. And just overall, how this is going to have an effect on the entire industry from acquisitions from other companies and how this is going to help Xbox grow. Now, the deadline is October 18th. So if the decision does not come down tomorrow for this deal to close, you should still be expecting it in the next few days or so. Now, one of the things that was up for discussion, that was a question, was whether the EU, who's already approved this deal, would have to reapprove it again because of the new deal that Xbox created for Activision Blizzard, which is essentially giving the streaming rights to Ubisoft to choose where these games are distributed. And Xbox got some great news yesterday that they reportedly will not need to approve again the Activision deal. Comes via The Verge saying EU won't reportedly need to approve Microsoft's Activision deal again. Bloomberg is reporting that the European Commission won't need to go through an approvals process for Microsoft's revised Activision Blizzard deal. Microsoft announced a restructured deal in August designed to appease the UK regulators, transferring the cloud gaming rights for current and new Activision Blizzard games to Ubisoft. And this was one of the many concessions that Xbox has made throughout this almost 2-year process of going through the announcement to where we are today. And obviously, the cloud gaming thing was the main focus for these regulators, the main focus for the CMA that made them go out and actually block the deal. Even though you can easily argue at this point right now, it is a nascent market. They're out there arguing that because it's nascent and growing, Xbox and Microsoft are going to have so much power with Activision Blizzard to withhold games from other cloud streaming services, although they've already made deals to distribute games to smaller cloud streaming services. But because of that power, it will just make it very hard to compete. So they went ahead and restructured the deal, which is giving Ubisoft the power to choose where those games will be distributed. And it won't have to be reapproved here by the European Union. Just another big win here for Xbox and Microsoft going forward with Activision Blizzard. So hopefully tomorrow the decision does come down. If not, it will be by the 18th in terms of Microsoft coming out and closing the deal. And the gaming industry will be forever changed. I mean, this has been an insane generation of gaming where we have seen massive power switches, massive power changes, and just an absolute change in how the industry is operating and where a lot of these major players believe the industry is going to be going, which is cloud based services, subscription. And in order to do that, you have to have the content to get people attracted to your service. You have PlayStation now competing with PlayStation Plus, as they also did announce much more games for October. And there's actually a good list for PlayStation Plus games coming out. And what they also announced on top of that, which is right now, it could be an advantage for the cloud services for PlayStation, is they are actually launching their cloud services, but they're going to be offering 4K streaming. Now, that's the advantage. Obviously, the big thing here with PlayStation Plus, where it's still under Xbox Game Pass, and I don't know if we'll ever get to where Game Pass is unless they start bringing their first party games. As you have the day and date games that come out from Xbox, and we've seen just how great of a year that has made 2023 for everybody on the Xbox platform. But this was announced here. PlayStation 5 cloud streaming launches this month, and this will be targeting October 17th in Japan, and then October 23rd for Europe, and October 30th for North America. And they say here that select PS5 games will be available for streaming. We're planning to have hundreds of PS5 titles to support the new benefit. Now, where I think this is a good thing for PlayStation Plus users is the resolution options, where you have the 4K resolution option, the 1440p, 1080p, and 720p with 60 frames per second, and SDR or HDR output, which is a nice thing to have. The 4K is not available yet on Xbox Cloud Gaming, and people are wondering when they are going to be bringing that over, because they are, I would say, right now, the best cloud gaming service is Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Cloud Gaming, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, all of that stuff, because of the selection of games available. But people want the high resolution. They want to be able to stream in 4K. You obviously have to have the internet to be able to play these games over cloud gaming in 4K without stuttering and all that stuff. So that's still an issue going forward. But at some point, Xbox is going to have to expand out in terms of the resolutions that they do provide. But I think that's pretty cool. And we'll see how the streaming service actually works with PlayStation Plus, how successful it is. I mean, technically, they had this before with PlayStation Now. They were the first ones in here, and that really just didn't take off. Like, it didn't grow nearly enough, and they kind of just let it stay stagnant. And now they're probably kicking themselves because if they would have invested more earlier into PlayStation Now and continued to try to grow that service, maybe they wouldn't be on the back foot compared to trying to compete here against Xbox. Maybe they would be further ahead. And we'll see if this somehow at all turns the tides for people's interest in cloud gaming. Now, let's jump over here. Let's talk about Assassin's Creed Mirage, because as we know, this year for the Assassin's Creed release, it was going back to the roots of the game, smaller, more stealth based, not like the big open world RPG. As someone who is a big Assassin's Creed fan who likes the old games, who likes the big open world RPGs, I was excited to see what they were doing here, kind of give you that break before we get into the next big open world RPG, which will be taking place in Japan, which I think will be cool. But it was a good move here by Ubisoft as they are announcing it is their biggest new gen launch to date. So here is what Ubisoft is saying about Assassin's Creed Mirage. With the number of players being in line with the past successful launches such as Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, we are humbled by the positive reception. We are proud to also share that Assassin's Creed Mirage is the biggest new gen launch in terms of unit sales to date at Ubisoft for the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S. So obviously this is something people really want. They wanted to go back to the smaller Assassin's Creed game. It is a very strong franchise, a very strong IP, and it has paid off. So I'm guessing we are going to see more of these spin-offs from those big open world RPG Assassin's Creed games where you're going to get those smaller versions while you're waiting for the bigger open world one, which I think is great. In this day and age with how many games there are to play, how long they are, a smaller experience like this is awesome. And on top of that, Ubisoft didn't price this at the full $70 price tag that you're seeing with a lot of the current AAA games that do come out that are probably not even nearly as good as Assassin's Creed Mirage is. It's been getting a great critical reception. I've been playing through a bit of it, still have a lot more to go in it, but I mean, it does bring you back to those roots and it is a good experience. So cool to see that, and I'm happy that we're going to probably see more of these styles of games from Ubisoft. And finally, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch 2, because we're talking about acquisitions and how Activision Blizzard is going to be changing the industry. Well, they also have to keep their eyes on the Nintendo Switch 2, because that's going to be coming in, and that is going to have an effect on all of the current generations of consoles, the PS5, the Xbox Series X and S, because this console should most likely be coming out in 2024, and it is going to most likely have all of the current stuff that is releasing right now on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, even if it is less powerful than them. We have some more info here that I think is going to make this console even more enticing for people who potentially are on the brink as to whether they want to get into the Nintendo ecosystem. The big one for me is going to be backwards compatibility. And we have some hints here from former developers who are saying that it's going to have backwards compatibility as well as machine learning features, which will be huge for a console like the Nintendo Switch 2 if it is underpowered compared to the current stuff out there on the market. This year, a few hours ago, DocTray81 reported in a new video to have found the LinkedIn profile of a former Nintendo developer who worked at the company from February 2021 until August 2023. The developer took ownership of an existing project and redesigned it to reduce complexity, increase performance, and introduce new features while maintaining all existing functionality, which would hint at the backwards compatibility. They say, by this description, it seems like this existing project is the Nintendo Switch 2, and no other known project from the Japanese company would fit it, and maintaining all existing functionality may be for backwards compatibility. Now, on top of the backwards compatibility, in this LinkedIn profile is also hinted at the machine learning, because they talk about how they worked on machine learning, and they also worked with NVIDIA TensorRT, which is an open source library which accelerates and optimizes inference performance of the latest large language models. And the ARM assembly mentioned also suggests the new console, much like its predecessor, will be powered by an ARM CPU. So that part's not that surprising, but machine learning will be huge, I think, for the Nintendo Switch. So it's cool to see that they are implementing that, and backwards compatibility with the amount of Switches out there, 100 million plus, the amount of people out there that will be super angry if they release this and they can't play all of the physical cartridge Switch games they do own. Because one of the things with the Nintendo Switch, I believe it is uh, the console with the most physical games that people actually play. Like, people spend a lot more money on physical cartridges with the Nintendo Switch versus the Xbox and the PlayStation 5. So they're going to want to be able to pop that cartridge into the upcoming version of this console, the Nintendo Switch 2. And if they can, I think that will turn off a lot of people and it would be a huge misstep from Nintendo. So this is obviously a rumor, not confirmed by Nintendo, but I think we will be getting an announcement for the Switch relatively soon with a 2024 release date. And this is going to go right in there alongside the Series XS, the PlayStation 5, and it's going to be a true, I think, 3 console battlefield. Whereas right now, you can kind of siphon out the Nintendo Switch. It is sort of for a different base, sort of for a different market shares. There are games that come out on the PS5 and the Series X and S that don't end up on the Nintendo Switch. But if they do start ending up on the Nintendo Switch 2, you're going to see just a huge surge here in the competition between all 3 companies. Going back to like the PS2, GameCube, Xbox era, where they were all competing for a very similar user base. But I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.